Welcome back to another episode of Man Cave Movie Night. It has been a month since our last episode.
Yeah, it's been...
Which means
1 month.
Season 4. Or
yeah.
Maybe five. Could be
maybe.
3.
I guess. I don't know.
Could be
That's true.
season
Standard
3.
deviation of 1 season.
Yes. Well, if we were going on the 25 episode mark we had kind of done before, this would be like what, season 8 or something?
Wow.
7?
Oh, 7, I think.
Sheesh.
Which is exciting. So
Yeah,
welcome
that's
back
exciting.
to season 7 of Man Cave Movie Night. We're excited to be here.
You know how usually characters have growth and arcs throughout?
I've had a crazy arc.
Yeah, no,
wonder,
we've
what
all
are
had
our
we've all had a
personal
very
arcs?
eventful last month.
I'm Nile 2 now, I think.
Oh, that's true.
Or you're
in the podcast
Nile
lore,
3. Well,
Yeah.
Nile
You've
2
died a
too
couple
to
times,
be.
been replaced.
Well, I'm Nile 2 because all of the other ones went through, and now I'm a genetic clone of
I see.
Nile. I'm Nile 2. If I'm remembering correctly. It's been a while since we've touched on that lore.
Yes, it has.
Honestly, and the only person to rival the amount of lore you've received is the lore your mom's received throughout
Yeah,
the show.
truly. Which, by the way, my mom called me today about a episode of the podcast.
Oh, really? What about
She
it?
it was super funny. It was the Pitches episode, the last one, and she called me to say like, so Jared is pitching a show about a reality show,
Oh, gotcha.
like the making of a reality show. Does he not know that there's a show called Unreal that already exists? And I was like, Mom, listen for 10 more seconds.
Yeah.
That's true.
It was pretty
That's so funny.
It was pretty funny.
Oh, I thought she was going to be mad at us for
Yeah,
talking about her
She
untimely
doesn't. I don't
diseases
think
and stuff.
I don't think she's listened to any of those episodes. I think there was
That's
a
good.
gulf where she
It's
stopped
just
listening
okay.
for a while.
Worked
and now
out.
She's back.
That's nice.
Well, if you're
Yeah.
listening now, Kel, we have never talked about anything of the sorts.
No, yeah.
Yeah, we've-
according to
only
us,
ever-
and
we
all of our
barely,
listeners,
Perfect
barely
perfect
ever
health.
mention Kel. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like rare that we bring up Niall's mom.
that's true.
It's not
But
like that's our only tier of Patreon. Shout out to Kel. Which,
but
stay tuned till the end of this episode to hear more about
that.
that.
So with us coming back though, we got to have a goody episode, and I think this will be a lot of fun. I'm really excited to talk about this stuff because TV finales are incredibly divisive. In general, a lot of shows I think are made or broken by how good of a finale they are. We've talked about some of them on the podcast. I mean, one of the most glaring ones is obviously Game of Thrones, that we've kind of talked about a lot. But there are plenty of great ones too, like Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, that are kind of universally beloved. But we'll get into all of that. But first, another thing we love to do is, one thing that I love to do especially, is give Niall and Jared questions that they're not going to know the answers to, because
It's one of the
it's really funny and
absolute
fun to
staple
do.
of this podcast.
Yes, and it's
Honestly,
awesome.
why I'm still here
Yeah, and so
is
as-
to
as-
see how little I know.
this one is fun because it's questions about final episodes or things like that of shows that you have not watched. So it's going to be really fun and interesting. There's only a few, so we're going to get right into it. And
Cool.
we're going to give this one to Niall because I know he's a big
Great.
fan of Johnny Carson, and that's what this question is about.
Yeah, huge fan.
So, who were the final guests to sit on Johnny Carson's couch for the final episode of The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson? Was
Actually,
it?
Oh, I'm getting options.
You're getting options. Yeah, I'm not
I
just
think
going to
I
say.
know
This will
somewhere.
remind-
That would be hilarious if I
Somewhere-
just asked you this question. It's like, who
Well,
was it?
I think somewhere in the recesses of my mind, I think I know this because I think it's either Norm Macdonald talked about it on his podcast.
Oh, nice.
Or Conan O'Brien talked about it at one point. So
Hopefully you get it
think
then.
if something is said that rings a bell, I'm gonna be able to get it. If not, I'm going to fully shoot in the dark.
All right. Well, option one is Mel Brooks and Julia Roberts, or Robin Williams and Bette Midler.
Oh, so there's two options.
There's two.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, two.
You got this.
two guests were
50-50.
yeah. There's two options. It's all going to be 50-50.
I feel like that would be.
But you have to justify your answer with a 5-paragraph essay.
Well, what? Give me the options again. I want to make sure I don't mess this up.
No.
So it was
Mel Brooks and
Mel
Julia
Brooks
Roberts,
and Julia
or
Roberts
Robin
or who?
Williams and Bette Midler.
I think it's Robin Williams and Bette Midler.
You think right because that is correct.
Oh,
That is
wow.
correct.
Julia Roberts would have been really, really young to be on Carson.
Yeah, I don't know when Carson ended. It didn't give me that date. It does for some of these other ones, but yeah, kind of cool. Robin Williams and Bette Midler, final Johnny
genius.
Carson.
Very cool.
So, Jared, for you, this is a question about your favorite show, MASH. How many viewers tuned in to watch the 1983 series finale of MASH? Was it 60.2 million or 105.9 million?
Remember, at this point in time, there were only 4 million people living in the United States.
That's right.
This is not just American viewers, as far as I'm aware. I
That's
assume it's
true.
worldwide.
I think
Was it a
I
national
think MASH
broadcast?
ended on a
International
bang. Yeah, right? That's why it has such a. I mean, that's why it's still so relevant.
Yeah.
You can't go anywhere
Constantly
without seeing
quoted.
some MASH IP. So I'm going to go with the, what was it, 105, 106?
105.9 million? That is correct.
Nice.
Well done. I am curious what the U.S. population was in 1983 because
4
That
million.
is a lot.
that seems like just an obscene amount. 233.8 million. So if it was
Almost 50% of
Yeah, but
the
that's
United States.
Yeah.
that's
That's
crazy. I don't know if that's
MASH
TVs
was a huge
though.
deal, dude.
It might have, like if it's TV. No, it has to be viewers. There's
It's
no
viewers.
way. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's no way that it was. 'Cause that's almost half of everyone in this. That's insane. That will never happen again.
Well, that's why we know all of the characters' names from MASH, right? Like,
I know that Alan Alda
Hawkeye.
plays the main guy.
There's a guy named Hawkeye.
Yeah, Hawkeye. Yeah, that's Alan Alda.
Oh, the final episode was directed by Alan Alda as well, who directed
Nice.
the movie.
Wow.
Okay, cool. Well, next question
Goes to
for
who?
Niall.
Okay, cool.
Oh.
Name the university that Theo Huxtable graduated from in the series finale of The Cosby Show. Was it NYU or Columbia?
NYU. There's no way it was Columbia.
All right, well done. NYU is correct.
Wow.
Yeah, baby.
Wow.
You
This is
listen-
way more competitive than I thought.
Yeah,
it
it
was
seems
gonna
like you
be.
guys know more than you realize.
I know everything that I realize.
I have seen some Cosby Show.
I have
I
seen
don't think I've
some
seen
as well.
any Cosby Show.
I've seen a lot
Also,
of
my
Cosby
lips
Show.
really smacked at the beginning of me saying that, so I apologize to the listener.
The next question was a show that I don't want to spoil the end of. So this one I know you guys have not seen the ending of because you don't care about it as well. So Jared,
Okay.
who
Yes.
shot JR in the season 3 finale of Dallas? Was it Dusty
yeah.
Farlow or Kristen Shepard?
You know Dusty pulled that trigger. There is some people who might disagree with that, like maybe this quiz, but everyone in their heart of hearts knows that,
Knew that it was
Dusty is
Dusty
the
Farlow.
murderer.
Unfortunately, according to this quiz, it is Kristen Shepard.
Could have guessed that.
You got a coin
They must
flip.
have been. They must have done some real analysis because the shot you only see the hand holding the gun,
Yeah.
and it's so zoomed in that they would have had to do fingerprint analysis to actually determine who it was.
Who it
And
was.
the story beats all point to Dusty Van Ripple.
Dusty Farlow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very much
Yeah.
a Who Shot Mr. Burns, but they didn't get a part 2.
Yeah, unfortunately. They just moved on from that. They're just like, here we go. So, unfortunately, missed it. And again, that's just the subjectivity of the quiz, but again, we do have to go based on
Right.
what we're told.
We have to go based
That's
on
fine.
the quiz, which is unfortunate because I think you were right.
Okay, we're playing to the quiz.
We are playing to the
I
quiz.
get that.
So next question then here is going to be a group interested. A group interrupted.
Who's this for?
This is for Niall. This is for Niall. Sorry, excuse me. Back to Niall. Yep, going.
We just
one
don't know
and
if
then
you're gonna-
I need you
yeah,
to let
back
you
to
know.
Niall.
Are we going to keep doing that? Or are you going to...
Yeah, that'll
We'll
be
find
the. Yeah, we'll figure it out.
It'll alternate every time, or
Yeah, I'm thinking that'll probably do that. So a group interrupted Amanda and Michael's wedding on the season 5 finale of Dynasty. Who were they? Was it Russian gangsters
Antifa.
or Moldovan terrorists?
Of Dynasty?
I've never heard of Dynasty
Moldovan
until
terrorists.
this question. And Moldovan terrorists is correct, so well done.
Whoa!
Very well
I was
done.
running away with it.
That's
You know,
what I'm talking about.
Jared, this...
Said it with my chest, too.
Yeah, you did. You committed. Jared, this question is back to you. Funny you mentioned this. Who shot Mr. Burns in the season 6 finale of The Simpsons? Was
wow.
it Waylon Smithers or Maggie Simpson?
Freaking spoilers.
It was Maggie Simpson.
You-
And the odds were crazy.
Yes, you are correct. It was Maggie Simpson. If you had bet, I think $1 on that in Vegas odds, you would have made like 1,000 or something. The odds were insane because no one thought it was Maggie, but it was. So that's kind of fun. So well done. Back to you, Niall, for your final question.
Okay.
All right, if you botch this and I can get mine, then we're tied. But if you get this, you cement your victory.
That's true.
That's true.
So
And if
That's
we're
true.
tied, then Lucas
this-
wins.
And yep, exactly.
That's
So I'm
true.
hoping you get this
That's-
one wrong. A song was playing during the final moments of The Sopranos. Name the song and the musical group.
Oh, I know. I think I know what it is.
Come Sail
Oh.
Away by Styx or Don't Stop Believin' by Journey.
Okay. I just had to
definitely
remember
know
that
what
this is an audio format, and I should
You
keep talking.
you
while
have
I'm
70 minutes to submit your answer.
My guess is that it's "Don't Stop Believing" by Journey.
You would be correct. It is Don't Stop Believin' by Journey. That is
Alright.
playing
Yes!
The Sopranos. So a little bit of a spoiler there, I guess, for The Sopranos, but not anything that happens in it.
Well, that cements Niall's victory. Maybe this last question could be for the audience.
Yeah, this
and
one's
then
for the
we'll
audience.
Reveal the answer at the end of the episode.
I think they'll probably get this one. I think this is the easiest
Okay.
one on it. What was Dr. Westfall's autistic son playing with in the 1988 series finale of Saint Elsewhere? I don't even
that
think
is-
I need to
That's
give
so
options.
We don't
Easy.
even need to.
I don't even
We
think
don't
we need
even
to give
to
options.
address the answer.
Yeah, people just know
Should've
what it
given
is.
me
No
that
options.
early.
Don't address the answer.
Yeah, I
because
should have
it's-
given that one to just Jared since of how much of a gimme it is. But
It's okay.
because Niall got more right, he is the winner. And so you guys can all, of course, know the answer to that question, and you can discuss it amongst yourselves as you're listening as we move into the episode.
Yep. What's my prize for winning?
Silence.
Oh, I was really hoping that it was this theme song.
Well, Niall, good thing your wish came true
Yes.
because we just listened to that theme
Wow.
song and we're just now yapping. Welcome back to my
Yapping
dream.
and
Came
bapping.
true as well.
Movie
That
night.
theme song is so good.
I agree.
Yep.
I agree. This week we're not talking about
It'll
movies. We're talking
never
about TV
change.
finales. More TV finales. I've been giving you some real. I mean, some would say easy, some would say tough. It depends on how much TV you've seen.
Finale.
Saying Elsewhere, obviously, the Snow Globe was a gimme. Very obvious answer with that
Yeah.
one.
It's
Yeah.
But
ridiculous.
with talking about a little bit more newer shows, probably mostly the shows that we're going to talk about here today. Let's get into TV finales. We touched on them a little bit, how they're very divisive sometimes, how there's some good ones and some bad ones. So
True.
let's ask each other
facts.
some questions.
Do we have what's our general opinions on finales? Do we like it that TV shows end sometimes?
I think that there are some shows that really need to end.
Yes.
Yeah.
There are some shows that I desperately wish could go on forever. However, the more that wish comes true, the less I wish it. Because the longer a show goes on, it just starts to diminish drastically in quality by every season. For example, and I don't know, how I'm going to be received for this, but Always Sunny, I think they should probably call it.
I don't know about that, buddy.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know which is worse. Well, maybe I do. A TV show that overstays its welcome, right? Where even though the kind of spark has died out and it's fizzled out and it doesn't have that same edge. One of those shows that keeps going, or a show that has a lot of potential that is ended too soon, like prematurely
Oh,
canceled.
yeah, with no ending at all.
I think probably that one, because even let's say It's Always Sunny, if the last couple seasons haven't been as good as maybe some of their earlier seasons,
Yeah.
you still have so many, the meat of the show and that, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 season run that was just perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can still go back and salvage those and enjoy it and
Yeah.
not watch the beginning or end. Or, I mean, it would suck if It's Always Sunny got canceled after season 2.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, like Arrested Development. If it had gotten canceled after season 3 and then just that had been it and maybe done a revival or something like that. Oh, man. I would definitely prefer the former then. I'd prefer a show that ends poorly, that overstays its welcome, but was able to at least get some more
all the good
goodness.
ideas
Because
out.
I feel like
Yeah.
if Arrested Development had run for 5 seasons consecutively, been canceled, and then never come back, I would have preferred that to the seasons 4 and 5 that we actually did get.
Totally.
Versus, because I don't know. Yeah, it's just tough with that because at the same time, a show like, but yeah, definitely the former, because a show like Game of Thrones that ended so poorly did have so long where it was so good. I'll see clips every now and again pop up and I'm like, oh, that show is so good. It's just exactly the fantasy tone. They just nail it. And I've really been enjoying this season of House of the Dragon as well. And it's just kind of capturing some of that. Not quite the same highs as Game of Thrones, but I'm still just why? Why did it end so poorly? So I don't know. Yeah, that's a whole thing. But I would say it's better for a show to end poorly than get cut off too soon. That's my stance. Speaking of, Halo just
I
got
think that's
canceled.
fair.
For all
Yeah, I
you
saw.
Halo TV show fans out there,
Did it have a season already?
it had 2
It had
seasons.
2 seasons.
Oh, jeez.
And no one was talking about it because
Yeah.
it was bad.
Yeah,
Oh, well, maybe maybe that's fair.
I've seen clips from it, and it is.
Well,
It's
what's a
tough.
show that has been canceled that you really wish would have gotten some more seasons? An answer for me is Dark Crystal: Age of Resistance.
Oh yeah, I've heard that's
It's
good.
on Netflix. Season 1 was so good and just so well executed. Again, if you love Jim Henson kind of puppets and a story that is told in an untraditional fashion, it is so good, and the voice cast is unbelievably stacked.
I know, dude. I saw that
Unbelievably
on IMDb.
And the fact that it just got canceled after one season, one really, really great season, is heartbreaking.
That's why it's so hard for me to care about Netflix shows, unless it's this show. Unless it's a Squid Game level success, which is very rare, obviously. I'm so hesitant to start because I don't want it to be oh, you got a season 2, but
Gone.
gone, all done. Sorry,
All done.
And Netflix,
All
I think, is the worst at
Bye-bye.
that, of just saying, 100 million people didn't watch this in the first week, so it's not worth continuing. And that is just such a ridiculous way to look at things.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
so,
Yep.
so cool.
That's
I hope our audio got that. That was
Yeah,
really
that would have
funny,
been a
Niall.
bummer if it cut out there for
Ah.
a moment.
It's the funniest joke I've ever made, and anyone listening, you know that it was the best joke I've ever made. Comment what your favorite part of the punchline was.
Dude, I
send
can't
that
wait to
in to
comment
us.
it.
I'm glad it's immortalized because it really
too.
was. You had to be there.
It was the perfect joke. I
so
honestly,
funny.
I bow down to you, Niall. That was the perfect joke. Well done. Let's just
Thank you.
clap for
Let's
Niall.
clap.
Well
Let's
done,
clap for
Niall.
Niall. Oh my gosh.
I'm still laughing. It's so
Well, okay.
funny.
We do have an episode to continue.
Yeah, sorry.
So-
We don't want to get
After
too
all
sidetracked.
that-
That's my bad. That was me. Sorry, everyone.
Silly Niall. But yeah, let's get into it. Jared, you were just talking. Let's hear your question. I know you had a question for us. Let's hear what it might could be about TV finale.
Totally.
Rhymes.
I came up with this question to try to avoid some spoilers. I know we'll get into that with this episode.
Yeah,
You
we'll
At
disclaimer.
least surface level, we'll disclaimer. But for now, let's stay in a safe zone. And my question is, for any show that is currently airing, or maybe even one of the shows that has been canceled, and like had it gone to, get 13 seasons or whatever
Yeah,
the something's
yeah,
at
yeah.
right now. What I want you guys to pitch me an end to that show. What would be the perfect finale? If you were writing it with the information you have now from the show, what's the perfect end?
That
Or
is
at least what's an end that you would like to see?
that we would like to
Right.
see. Yeah. Oh man. Okay. Because so many. Okay. I wanna. Let's talk about Severance. All right. I'll talk about Severance because that is one in general that is still very much actively going. And let me first of all say January 17th for season 2 is abysmal. That is insulting. 3
Yeah, it's
years
ridiculous.
after season 1. The online discourse, because like people, they dropped the season 3 of The Bear all in one day, and so people watched it, in 1 or 2 days, and everyone's like, I hate TV now because I have to wait 1 or 2 or 3 years to watch a show I can watch in one day, and it's like
it sucks.
the old format was just, it's like I don't know. There's such a huge discourse that can be had with that, but with pitch a finale to an end of a show, basically, with Severance. This is the type of show, again, where I've compared it to Lost, where it just sets up such a cool little mystery box. There's so much to it. They do answer some questions with season 1. Yeah. They establish the world. They show, breaking some of the rules and things like that, and getting into how the future seasons will be able to evolve and take what season 1 has set up. But in terms of like actually ending the show, there are so many like little like Easter eggs and kind of plantings of just like, oh hey, here's this. I think part of I'm cautious because I don't want to spoil anything too aggressively. So I would say if you haven't watched Severance season 1 yet, maybe skip ahead a few seconds.
Yeah. Well, we did an episode, and all
we
of
did
our
do that.
audience will always listen
To every episode,
They'll always watch the whole show.
Everything is in order.
before
Yeah,
they
no, we're
view
chilling.
it.
We're good. So I'm fine to spoil. With them, especially that scene with the main female lead, whose name escapes me, and her father in the bathroom, their whole motivation to get everyone severed, right? I think that's going to be something that's going to be very interesting to see as it develops, and just basically saying like, hey, I think that they will make a lot of traction. Season 2 will probably go into how there's maybe some pushback because of her revealing herself and saying like, hey, the Innies actually really don't want that. But that company will be the continual like kind of main antagonist, kind of like the island is in Lost. Again, Lost comparison, just too good to not do. But I think the show will end.
Another show with a famously good ending.
Yeah. I don't mind the Lost ending.
Yeah, keep going with your answer.
Sure.
With myself. Okay, fine. Well, I mean, we can talk about Lost if you guys want to as well. I do love Lost.
We might, honestly.
we might circle back to Lost.
I can
But,
see it coming up.
yeah, I can see it coming up too because it's just one of the best shows ever made. So
Very culturally significant, and the conversation around its ending is poignant.
Yes, that is true. It is very culturally significant, and yeah, people were heated about that. But with Severance, it's the type of thing that even with Star Wars, the J.J. Abrams, where it's like, how do you end a show with a mystery that well crafted? Where it's like, what even could the ending be? And I think one idea that could be the ending with that is that they are successful with like everyone being severed, or like a large majority of the population, and so the show kind of has to evolve from there being like almost like a 1984 type, like, oh, it was just the company, but now it's like standard fare, where the whole U.S. or world, maybe just U.S. to keep it a little bit more localized, has these severed personalities, and using what John Turturro's character has done, like there are like insurgent cells of like figuring out how to like how to be able to recover memories from your innie or your outie, one or the other, and to be able to kind of uprise and man, I can't remember the name of the company. I should.
Lumen,
yes, of course.
Yeah.
And so I think Lumen will take control and then lose that control. And I think we'll continue to follow these characters, but the severing will get larger, and then we'll come back down into a point where it's like, all right, good job, guys. We did it. We deleted the severs. Or also, it could just... it would be a satisfying ending to me if there's a little bit of open-endedness where they do defeat the Lumen, but it's like, hey, they could always come back in the future. Because there are sometimes the series finales where they do that, and it's like, you know what, that is... this type of a character or this type of a world absolutely can continue to exist without us seeing all of it. A show does not always need to end with a main character dying in order for it to be satisfying. So that's just one possibility. I don't know that that'll happen, but might could.
Nice.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it a lot.
Thanks.
I like what you're doing here.
Thanks.
Speaking of main characters dying,
Nice.
here's what I think should happen for The Boys season 5.
Nice.
Hey, all right.
Season 4 finale just came out as well.
Yeah, which
I'm not caught up.
Yeah, we're not going to spoil that, but
Yeah.
yeah,
please.
we won't say anything about season 4.
I'm about to watch the Tech Night episode. Does anything interesting happen in that one?
nope. Nothing.
It's one of the most
bad at
normal
all.
episodes of TV I've ever seen.
Sick.
Uh-huh.
Cool.
Yeah, very tame.
Great.
I feel like it would fit the feeling of the show for it to just be the bleakest ending.
Oh, yeah.
Like
No.
I feel like that's a show that would benefit from maybe like the whole cast like dying.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
Except for Huey.
Huey's
going to be the sole survivor.
Here's what I kind of think would be. This is about as dark as they could go with an ending.
Uh-huh.
I think that Butcher should be the only one that survives.
Oh, man.
Because he's on the clock. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And so it's like, if he now just kind of has to live out the rest of his limited time knowing that everyone else being lost is like on his hands, I think that would be a very, very tragic but also very fitting way for the Butcher story to continue.
Oh,
you
that's
know?
crazy, dude. Butcher being the only one left.
Yeah.
Oi, oi, oi.
Oi, oi,
And-
oi.
I don't know. I feel so like Homelander's gotta go.
Yeah.
Right? Like he's
Yeah.
got
It's like, it's, yeah.
Yeah.
But at the same time, with the political statements that the show is making, I feel like there has to be an element of the problem is not resolved.
Fully. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And so I think that, like, some sort of tease at the end, not a tease that turns into anything,
Sure.
but just kind of like a Homelander's gone, and now it's clear that Vought's new priority is create a new Homelander. Like, that's the goal. Which, based on something that happens in the comics that Eric Kripke has confirmed will not be happening in the show, which this is like spoilers for the comics, I guess.
Yeah. Go for it.
In the comics, it turns out that Black Noir is a Homelander clone. And for a lot of like the tail end of the comics, Black Noir is the one kind of doing a lot of the Homelander stuff and like wrecking the world and whatnot. And Eric Kripke was like, this is going to sound weird, but that felt like too like out there for this show and like not believable.
Yeah.
Which is like, it's interesting that he's right because the show is crazy and way unrealistic in so many ways, but something like cloning just feels like the wrong kind of unrealistic.
Yeah, totally.
But if they teased at the end that was like Vought's new goal, was like, okay, we have, this jar of Homelander's hair that's here because of something that, we did.
Hair is a good way to put it.
Hair,
and they're like,
yeah.
we have this, and now we're going to use it to try to make a genetic clone of Homelander or something.
Yeah.
If they, instead of putting it in the show, they just kind of tease like that's Vought's new goal, and then the cycle continues, I feel like that would be the way you would kind of have to do it.
Yeah, and it's like
So-
some shows like that. Like I like the idea of, you watch a show like that and you're like, you don't know exactly how the show will end, but the main character will die. And in this case,
And
it's just that how we get to that point. It's very rare with situations like when you have a antagonist as the main character, like as a villain as the protagonist. It's like, okay, they're probably gonna die at the end of the show, especially when so
Right.
much of the show is dedicated to other characters trying to kill them. And so I like the idea of like, yeah, they do kill him, but hey, also maybe they weren't quite as successful, because it's kind of the Soldier Boy thing as well, where he's a
Yeah.
little bit of that continuation.
totally. So
Well,
that's mine.
I'll keep running with that. I love that. And I love killing characters. And there's a
Nice.
show that really has done a poor job about killing their characters. And I also believe that in their final season, they should cut them.
Cut him loose. Yeah, get him out of here.
Riverdale.
That is that's right. I'm talking about Riverdale season 11.
Yes.
No, I'm talking about Stranger Things.
Yep.
Obviously, this show has had so many good moments where they could have killed off a character who we care about.
Yeah.
Who we could keep the stakes rising and rising and rising throughout each season. Like a actual Hopper death.
Yeah.
Or
in really meaningful
you know,
ways. A lot of the
Or
characters.
an
have been-
actual
Exactly.
what's-her-face redhead girl death.
Yeah.
What's her name?
Max.
Max. But instead, what they opt for is introduce a new character in a season, kill that
Kill
character
that
in
character.
Yep.
season. So if you
Classic
haven't watched the
TV
show
format.
yet, sorry, but
That's what happens.
season 1, a character dies. Season 2, they introduce a character. They
That
die.
character
Season
dies.
3, they introduce a character. That character dies. Well,
Yep. Yes.
Yeah, season 3, that's
Who-
Sean Astin's season, right?
No,
No,
that's
that's
season
season
2.
2.
Billy dies in
but
season 3.
Billy dies in season
But I
3.
guess
but
he
was introduced in season 2.
Yeah. So maybe.
But there's
a little bit of
another
a-
character who dies in season 3.
Oh,
isn't
it's the Russian, the cute Russian guy who likes Slurpees. or
Yes.
whatever.
The
Yeah,
Russian guy who
Yeah.
likes
Yeah.
Slurpees.
Alexei
That's right.
or Alex or whatever it is. Anyway, and then
then
season,
Season
Four.
4, same
Eddie.
thing.
Eddie, who will certainly be coming back in
There's
season 5.
no chance that he's gone just
He's
because of how
so big
popular
now.
he
Yeah,
was.
he's become
he's
massive.
so big.
Joseph Quinn
And I'm
has
sure they have
absolutely
him
popped off.
contracted for this next season. There was an interview where someone asked him, like, are you coming back in season 5? And he very unconvincingly said,
No.
I don't know.
Oh, how would I, my
just have to
character?
see. Yeah, he's got to be coming back as like the knight in D&D lore who the Koss, I think his name is, who rivals Vecna. You
Oh,
know,
dude, that would be
yeah.
sick, actually.
it would be
If he's
really
like,
sick.
if he
The sort of
comes
cast is
back,
like-
not just as like as a flashback, but he's like in it as like a character in the Upside Down. Oh,
I think that's what we're gonna get.
dude, that would be great.
But outside of that, how should this end? Obviously, the forces of evil need to overtake Hawkins, Indiana. We need to have our whole group, our whole gang. They're going to be splitting up throughout the season, but far more on the same page than they've ever been in the show, which my favorite thing about season 1 is how in the dark they all are, but how they each have a little bit of information, and
But the lack of communication, just
Lack of
like
communication.
everything's chasing itself around. It's so good.
Exactly. So this season will be the only season really where we don't see that. We see pretty much a lot of communication until communication's cut off. Steve has to bravely go into the Upside Down to get this thing, and it's super dangerous, but he doesn't die. And then they all, it culminates and builds to this finale where 11 will die using
Oh,
her powers,
wow.
but actually
Actually,
She turns
11.
into
well.
12.
it turns into
Oh, finally.
12. Yeah, exactly.
Doesn't 12 exist, though?
Probably. Oh, yeah,
then-
12 is that lady in that one episode that I love.
Yeah, and the best
best
episode of
episode.
the show of season
Or was she
2.
8 or something?
I don't
I don't know.
remember.
Who's
Yeah,
to
maybe
say?
She
was
wasn't
like-
9 because 7, 8, 9.
That's
Oh,
true.
that's what happened, yeah.
And we are not talking to 7
We're
anymore.
not.
No, 7 is
Seven.
not allowed on the show.
Yeah. But also in that.
Holy crap, there's a
Beautiful-
skunk outside my room.
No way, really?
Oh, that's a dog. That's a dog, sorry.
Scare it.
That's a dog.
Oh, is it that dog? That dog, I know the dog you're talking about. It does look like a
The
skunk.
black dog with the white streak down.
I was like, dude, there's a skunk trying
That's
to get into my
spraying
room
comically
right now.
green gas out of it.
It's like, what the heck?
and just wearing a
Sorry
beret.
for the
I don't know.
interruption. I was just afraid a skunk was gonna.
And is really
Blast my room.
problematic now. Was probably okay back then.
Well, I'll say this as well. There's going to be a big sacrifice from Hopper, who's also going to die. In
He
that
better,
moment.
bro. He freaking better. He better.
So, again, in the end, it's a happy ending. The quiet town of Hawkins, Indiana, is restored
To its
to
once
the quiet town it
metropolis.
once was. The boys are back. I don't think any of the 4 boys are going to die or should die.
I think Dustin.
I think Will.
Just because, well, he's the character that's kind of the heart of it.
Oh,
That's
And
true.
so I think
Well,
if they're gonna
I think
kill one
Will-
of them,
I
they
think
should kill him.
You could also argue that Will is the heart of it.
Will
like-
Coconut Head?
Yeah, in the last
The one
season
who's not in season
specifically,
Yeah, that's
where
fair.
he's like super excluded from the group, and but also he's definitely gay, and so they're not gonna kill the gay character.
Yeah,
That's fair.
that's-
I
Yeah.
think
That'd
of the
be probably-
boys.
and they're not gonna kill the black character.
Maybe
they
it's.
might
because that's
kill-
trite.
They might kill Dust.
They might kill Hat character.
They might kill a Hat character.
What's the 11's love interest Finn Wolfhard's character's name again?
Mike.
Okay, sorry. You finish your pitch, Jared, and then I have.
And that's honestly
okay, that's it.
honestly my pitch.
I
is
think.
have this big sacrifice at the end. I really don't know how many characters they can get away with killing with it still feeling like they're not just axing people.
They're not just
I would
like,
love
oh,
them
hey,
to.
sorry about not ever killing these
Here's-
characters. Here they go.
But those are the 2 that definitely in my mind should die. Is
Hopper and 11.
Hopper.
Yeah.
Definitely
Another
Hopper.
tragedy that I could
Maybe
see
Steve as
happening.
well.
Maybe here's my pitch.
Yeah.
11 is in the Upside Down
Yeah.
versus Vecna,
Love it.
and then they kind of realize they can't beat Vecna, but they can keep Vecna from winning if 11 basically just stays in like eternal like lock with Vecna. And so rather than 11 dying, what if 11 just has to condemn herself eternally to live in the Upside Down?
I like that.
That could be kind of
That would be sick, actually.
That's still tragic loss.
And she has
without
to.
necessarily-
And then it's like, oh, hey, the Upside Down doesn't come back because she's like the new
Because she's
world. Like
holding
she's
it
the one holding it
closed.
closed. Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
if
I
she's
like
she's the one that can open it, so now she's the only one that can keep it closed, but she has to do it from the inside or whatever.
Yeah. That.
Something like that. I like that kind of like, you know, that character's still out there doing a necessary thing, but they're also. It's almost like more upsetting than death because Mike is like, she's probably like right here, you know?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. think that's a good ending,
Man, that's actually
for sure.
good. I like that idea a lot.
They
With
better use it.
They
That-
better.
that would be
I've
cool.
sent them emails.
you're like,
And
hey,
there's,
this is
a
how you
little
should
bit
end.
of there's like a final scene with Mike, and he's, just in his room, looking at his D&D books, and his Christmas lights start to light up a little bit,
Yeah.
and then it cuts to black.
And then it cuts back. It cuts back from the black to him in the room, and he says, "I'm gonna invent hard lemonade."
Oh, nice.
That's a really good ending.
That's
That
a
could be kind of
really
cool.
good
And then the
ending.
spin-off next show is called Mike's Hard Lemonade Show.
Yeah, they have
And it's
confirmed
a
they're
Duck
making a spin-off
Dynasty
show,
style,
which
it's
is
a Duck Dynasty style show of him making hard lemonade.
That's great.
That-
And being haunted and watched
Yeah,
by his
casually
psychic
haunted.
ex-girlfriend.
that is why here's the thing with open-ended shows. What I meant by that is like stuff like Psych. Psych ends. Gus and Sean don't die at the end of Psych. Like, come on, that was never how that show was going to end. It just ends with them, like, there's a fun little, Sean proposes, and it's like, yeah, we're still the psychic cops, and we're still friends. That's a great
Does
ending.
Sean
to a show.
propose to Gus?
Yeah, to Gus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They get married.
Well, it's a polyamorous relationship with Gus, Sean,
Oh,
and
there's someone else.
Juliet.
Yeah. So
Gotcha.
it's a
am
really
not-
satisfying conclusion.
I don't know if I've ever finished an entire episode of Psych. So
It's
I don't
fun.
know.
Psych
Oh,
is
it's
really
so
fun.
good.
Who
Psych
knows?
is really
Maybe
awesome.
if
Good.
maybe later on they turned gay. Not turned gay.
You know
they
that's right.
revealed.
They. Oh man, I totally lost my train of thought getting distracted by their.
But they
poly-
don't die.
Sorry.
It's
No,
kind
they
of
don't die.
like
Yeah, yeah. So
open-ended,
the
making
the
cheap.
open ended, it's not a cheap like, oh brother, here comes the Juliet spin-off show. Whereas I could totally see them doing that with Stranger Things, where it's like there's a conclusion with the Upside Down, and then it's like post-credit
Mad
scene.
Max.
Oh wait, here's some little something dumb thing. I'm like, I just hope they conclude it, and whatever spin-offs they do are past
Yeah.
or concurrent timeline stuff. Nothing jumping to the future, at least
Or
not for a long time.
Far future with a whole new cast
What if
and
What if-
statues of all the main characters in the town square
that-
of Hawkins.
That
I'll
would be
pitch
cool.
a little sequel. What if all the kids, like 30 years later, have to go back to Hawkins to fight the Upside Down again, and Finn Wolfhard is played
by James McAvoy.
No.
Oh, Bill Hader? Is that who's
Bill
going? Yeah, Bill
Hader.
Hader. That's what it was.
Bill Hader, that's a great idea.
Yeah, no.
I couldn't remember
Yeah,
who
yeah.
played him.
That's a good
That was
idea.
Bill Hader.
I think Hopper for sure dies. I think the mom dies too, Winona Ryder as
Yeah.
well. I think Will's
Love
older
her.
brother dies, so that Steve and Nancy can be together.
Okay.
Without there being any sort of weird stuff like tension between those characters.
Except
and
for that there's a shrine to him in their house.
that
And she
Except
she
that
kneels
he's
before
also
it
She
every
kneels
day.
before it
down.
for hours at a time. Yeah, but they're married. They're happily married. But she does.
They're
have
married,
to
but
get her
Steve
Neil time.
gets
Yeah,
that
yeah.
he's not the primary.
Yeah, he's not the main choice. I think how many kids are there?
He
6.
respects that.
I think
Yeah.
one
probably.
kid dies out of 11.
Plus Lucas's sister.
Dustin.
Yeah. If we're counting her, 11. Dustin, Will, Jimmy, Timmy, and Tom.
Yeah.
Of those,
You're a big Stranger Things guy.
I'm bad with character names. Of those
Yeah,
6, I think one dies. I think 11
Mike, Will,
might
Lucas,
not
Dustin.
die. I think Dustin could be the one. I think the heart.
I think it's
whoever's
Dustin.
whoever's
honestly,
the
you're
heart
right.
of season 5.
He
Like
is,
if
too
they
happy to
keep
stay alive.
Dude, can you
he's the
imagine
happy
killing Dustin?
optimist.
I do get it
Has
where
a
they're
Utah
like,
girlfriend.
And
Yeah,
he's the funny one. So like it's
Dude,
it's
killing
high
Dustin would
emotional
be
stakes
heinous,
without
though.
like actually
so
hurting
mean.
any threads that are still open.
yeah,
You know?
But
That-
honestly, I think they can be mean, especially with the tone of season
Totally.
4,
Yeah.
which
They should
is
be.
so
they should have
good.
killed Max at the end. That is one thing I will say.
They should have
Max
killed
absolutely
freaking died.
built up.
Well,
to
here's the
and they
thing.
shouldn't have made Run
Now
Up
they're gonna
That
be
Hill
so freaking old.
popular
All of them
song.
are.
Yeah,
Yeah. They're all gonna be old. And so now you can't use their kids. They're not going to kill kid characters because now they're all adults.
they're married.
Kill 'em.
Some of them. It's like
Off
Kill
with
'em.
their heads.
yeah,
I want them to die. I want every kid to die.
yeah. That's
I want only Hopper and Winona Ryder to live.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Anyway, that was my question.
Nice. Yeah, it was a
that
great question.
Yeah,
It was great. Yeah,
So-
lots of
good
fun
episode,
conversation.
everyone.
No,
Very-
no, Niall, you have something you wanted to say? A question?
Well, I do. I had a question, and when I asked it, it was movies, but then you introduced this episode as TV, so now I'm
Yeah.
scared to ask it.
So don't ask.
guess I
Ask
can
the
just do it
same
about
question, but
TV.
about TV. Yeah.
Okay, but I don't have an answer for it.
Okay.
Here's my
No, I don't.
question.
Go for it.
What is an ending or a finale that made you feel differently about the show than you felt throughout the entire thing? So either you were loving the show and then you got to the finale and you were like, okay, that sucks, and it also like retroactively ruins some of the show. Or the other way around, where it was kind of like, okay, this show is like whatever, maybe not the best, but then like the ending is like solid. See, that part of it works better for movies because you're not going to watch a whole show that you're not liking.
Well, here, let me answer. I do have an answer for this. We briefly discussed this before recording,
Lost. You hated it, but then the ending was so good.
but you would not watch all of Lost if you hated it. That is a long show. The episodes are long, and there are a lot of episodes.
I know.
So I loved
that
Lost.
ending is so worth it.
It's not that bad. Like I have come to terms. It really it's enjoyable. Even
What's your answer?
there are things about the last season that I hate. I dislike more than the last episode. My
I'm gonna
answer.
keep prodding you with the Lost thing, and then as soon as you try to respond, I'm just going to tell you to do your answer.
Yeah, do your
instead.
answer. Get off Lost. My answer is How I Met Your Mother. So How I Met Your Mother was something
Premium.
Yeah.
that this finale typically is pretty universally hated, but I remember watching this after high school because it was pretty popular. It was a couple years after the show had ended, and I was like, yeah, I need a new sitcom. I burned through The Office and Seinfeld and Parks and Rec. Let's hit something new from that time period. And so I was watching this, and I actually liked season 9 a lot. A lot of people don't love season 9. It's basically where Barney and Kobe Smolder's character, Megan, Timmy, Robin are getting married. And it's just going through that whole stuff.
Timmy?
Yeah, Timmy.
I love how you just Colby Smulders. You knew that immediately.
I know the actors.
But
I know all
Robin.
the actors' names. I just forget character names. Anyway, it's about their wedding, right? I really liked
Yeah.
that. It was a fun little contained, and that's where Ted meets his wife, and that's great. But then the finale, the first thing they do, spoilers for How I Met Your Mother, is say, "Hey, we're getting divorced," and it's like, okay,
Bom,
so you just dedicated an
Womp womp.
entire season of the show to then immediately say, "Oh, we're getting divorced." And it's like, that's stupid, but you keep watching the episode and you realize why they did it, and it was because they wanted Ted and Robin to end up together, which again is a miserable ending to an already terrible episode. But at the end of that episode, to the point of Niall's question where he's like, something so bad it made you like shift perspective or whatever. When I finished that episode, I was like, you know what? Now that I'm like thinking about this show, I don't know why I finished it. Like, I don't know why I watched all 9 seasons of this show. And it's like, it just kind of brought up all my grievances with like the entire show. And certainly there are great episodes. There are great characters. There are great moments. It's not an entirely bad show by any means. However, it is far too long to watch and for it to end like that. And it's a show where I'm like, okay, that is just so insulting to me that I wasted my time on this.
To
And
be
there are
fair,
plenty of, whatever. But
It's a dangerous premise.
yeah,
Because
totally.
from the very first episode, it's setting itself up for like, no matter what happens, the finale of this is gonna have to be very satisfying.
Yeah.
Well, here's a little behind the scenes from
Let's hear
How I
it.
Met Your Mother. They had that finale, like that was the plan, basically from the beginning.
The whole
And what
time.
happened,
Which is frustrating as well.
They like recorded the dialogue between Ted and his kids, basically all at once, right? Because the kids don't age,
Yeah.
right? David Henry and the girl, they don't age like throughout the show as well. They're being told this story, and so as chemistry between characters started working and they discovered the show like all good shows do. They changed and adapted, and it went this direction and they kind of realized like we're kind of forced to do this ending still.
Yeah.
Now, they did it, and people didn't like it, which is totally fair. So they actually created and released an alternate ending that was just on the DVD, I guess. And so you can now watch it on YouTube, where it takes the story how it actually, should have ended,
yeah.
and release that. It's such a sour taste in the mouth of.
But even with the
You're
retroactive,
saying-
hey, we filmed
Watched
it.
it.
Like,
You're saying
Yeah.
that's on YouTube and it's about how it should have ended. I think that might be.
That's something else.
part of the
yeah, that's
series called
it's
How
not
It Should
anime. This
Yeah,
one
it's-
isn't anime.
It's crazy that it's animated.
And then like Captain America and Batman show.
Yeah, and they're sitting in like a coffee shop or
Or a
something.
Superman.
Well,
Batman.
well, here's a thing with that kind of pivoting for a brief moment to movies. Sometimes those alternate endings become
dare
the
you.
ones that
He's allowed.
they continue off of. For
Like I Am
example,
Legend?
I Am Legend, exactly. There was an alternate ending film that was not in the movie, theatrical. If you've seen I Am Legend, it ends with Will Smith dying, but there's an alternate ending they filmed of him surviving. And they're making a sequel to I Am Legend where Will Smith is going to be in it. And so they're going with that alternate ending that was not actually in the theatrical cut, which is kind of wild.
Which is also that ending. The one that's not in the theatrical cut is book accurate.
oh, interesting. I didn't even know
That's
there was a
what
book.
Happens. Yeah,
Interesting.
it's all based on a book, and that's like the whole point of the book is the way that it ends, and that difference of ending also makes the entire movie better.
Yeah.
The alternate ending, like, because it just adds so much depth to the creatures.
Yeah.
and the
world.
the
Like, it
people
just
involved.
makes it a lot more interesting.
It makes it not a zombies movie.
Yeah.
Like, it makes it something
Like a
else,
yeah.
which is so cool. And they, I guess, just kind of figured, like, well, people just want monsters and kill monsters. So they did the dumb ending that they did. But, man, I'm so glad that they still filmed that alternate
Yeah,
ending.
and they're sticking with it.
One time I watched it on a site that was totally above board. And I watched it
Legal.
with some friends for Halloween, and it was a version with the alternate ending.
Oh, just cut into
and
it?
I had no idea. Yeah, just cut into it.
Nice.
And so I just watched the movie with the alternate ending, and it was perfect
Nice.
down to the last minute detail. It was amazing.
That's awesome.
So that's just whatever.
Nice. Well, there you go. We got your movie
I'm glad
bit
that you
in.
brought that
Yeah.
up because that was gonna be my
Your answer? Oh,
for
okay,
that
nice.
question.
Nice. There you go.
So-
Okay, well, we got the How I Met Your Mother. That's my bit. You guys, TV show.
Yeah, I'll give you. So, thinking about TV shows, one show that I think started off a little weak for me and then grew to be very good and then kind of got weak again and then really stuck the landing at the end is The Office. Right?
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Great
the first
example.
season of The Office, obviously they hadn't quite hit their stride yet. It was still good. It's just very kind of that cringe comedy. They hit their stride. They have several great seasons with Michael Scott, and then Steve Carell leaves the show, and would have been a great kind of finale, sort of
Definitely.
as well,
Those
like a
people-
beautiful send off. And then the show continues, I think, for a couple more seasons.
Yeah. Two
Without
more
Michael.
seasons.
Two more.
The rest of season 7 and then 2 more full seasons without him.
That's right. And I don't think it's necessarily bad TV, right? I think the writers
Yeah.
still do a great job. I don't really know if they knew or
Better than Big Bang
did the
Theory.
best job of handling it. What happens in Big Bang?
I have no clue.
Does somebody
Just
believe-
in general, season.
Oh, just in
Yeah,
general.
just in general.
Sure.
Even though it's not as good, it's better than
Okay, yeah.
other sitcoms.
It's still
that
better
carry
than
this.
Big Bang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not as good as Young Sheldon. I will concede that.
Young Sheldon's
Of
in its
course.
own league,
Yeah,
dude.
I shouldn't have even mentioned it.
Don't even.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Sopranos.
Yeah.
Breaking Bad.
Young Sheldon.
Young Sheldon.
Which recently ended this year.
Oh,
I know. It's,
Actually, with a death.
perfect
With the
finale.
death. That show shockingly
Yeah, the
did
death of the
have-
grandmother, right?
No, the dad.
Or no, the dad. Right.
Sheldon's dad
Well,
dies.
not shockingly, because they established that in Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
I haven't
Anyone who
noticed.
So
knows
they
the
had
lore.
to. They had
Yeah.
To, no,
Knew
I
he was
remember
gonna
reading
get the
about it
axe.
of like behind that controversial ending, and it was basically one of the writers saying, "It wasn't controversial. We wrote that into the show."
The show that his dad was
And
dead.
we
yeah.
realized while we were making Young Sheldon that it was going to suck that we had to kill this
Yeah.
guy.
So they did at the very
But
end.
that's
Just smart.
that's part of the lore. They didn't have to do it at all. It's not like it. Well, maybe it went straight into the Big Bang Theory. I don't know, but it's like there's probably still a gap between this child and then the main character of Big Bang Theory.
Jim Parsons.
Yeah.
Just kill him in
Probably.
between there.
Yeah, yeah.
Whatever.
But
I'm getting fired up.
What's
about
better
it.
than The Big Bang Theory is The Office.
True.
But
Yeah.
it kind of like
Yes.
in my viewing of it lost some steam. It didn't feel like the same show.
Definitely.
It had some stuff with like the camera crew and Pam and Jim. And right there at the end though, it curves right back up.
Yep.
Right? The Michael showing back up as the best man, the send off of the characters and everything. It's just really, really a great kind of like ending and epilogue to this show and these characters we've been with for so long. And so knowing that it does stick the landing, I think makes it upon a rewatch a lot better, right? It pulls, it kind of helps you average it out. Like, yeah, it has its high moments, it has its low moments, but in the end, it kind of stays on that trajectory all the way up.
Yeah.
It's, if it was a stock, I'd invest in it because in the end, I come out happy.
Yes,
Come
sir.
out on top. The other show that I'll real quick say, unless you want to say something.
Well, I was
about
just
this.
going to say something on The Office really quick,
Yeah.
which was I actually have not seen the last season.
The last season I do
Haven't
not
seen
like
that-
very much. There are
Haven't
things
seen that
about it,
finale.
The last
but the
episode's
finale
great.
is great. I 100% agree with
Yeah.
Jared. The finale is awesome. It is
Yeah,
great.
I haven't seen it.
It's just
I know that Michael comes back, and I know that it's like the camera crew leaves or whatever, and that's all I know.
it's it's super satisfying.
It's honestly, even without watching the last season, I would recommend watching the last episode.
Definitely. Yeah, it's you don't
Right.
need to watch that last season at all because it ties up loose ends
Everything-
from. I mean, yeah,
Yeah, pretty much everything's set up for that last episode. At least without that last season.
because there's a time jump between the second to last episode and then the last episode as well. So
yeah.
you can watch that
Oh,
full episode
gotcha.
and not miss anything because it's like, oh, here's what every single character is doing since they either quit or got fired, whatever, from the
Kind
office.
of Parks and Rec style.
Kind of.
Yeah,
Yeah, except
yeah.
all at the same time.
Except
Not-
that's the whole last season. Yeah.
The other show that really just I liked a lot, and then it kind of I don't even think progressively got worse. I think it got good, and then the last season tanked it for me, and that is Glee.
Wow, I'm surprised you watched the whole show.
I've watched the whole show a couple times, my friend, and upon rewatch, so I think I've seen Glee 3 times through. But the last time I watched it, I opted to just watch the first 3 seasons instead of all 6.
I did not know it had that
Or-
many seasons.
It does.
Oh, we mentioned
seasons
that.
1 through 3.
Yeah,
they're
it
in
has
high
like
school.
over 4,000 songs or
Yeah,
something.
that's what it was. Yeah.
It is something crazy.
It came up at one point on the podcast, and I
Yeah, it
was
was in our
blown
trivia
away.
one.
Yeah, it was like 700 something.
Yeah, it's a lot. Each season, the first 3 seasons, they're in high school together. Like it's their sophomore, junior, senior
Oh,
year,
fun.
basically. And there's some people who graduate early or who do not graduate by the time the senior class graduates.
Or who were killed.
Okay, so or who unfortunately pass away. But he doesn't pass away until start of season 5.
Oh, actually, I assumed none of the
Actually.
characters died. Wow.
The
Oh,
the
dude,
character
there's
who
death
plays
galore.
In Glee? Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Finn Hudson.
a death per season.
There's not.
Yes,
death
there
per
is.
season in Glee. One character dies, and it's because the character died in real life.
Oh,
Well, isn't
that
there like
sucks.
Oh,
I didn't know
It's
that.
so
isn't
sad.
there someone with cancer? Doesn't someone? Oh, the mom fakes having cancer or something, or no, fakes a pregnancy.
Oh yeah. In the first
wife.
season, the wife. Anyway, I haven't seen it in a while. A lot of the details are a little bit fuzzy for me.
All I know
But-
is what I learned in the I think Eddie Burback video about it.
Oh, nice.
First 3 season peak. It's so good. 4 and 5, they've kind of gone off on their own adventures. I think 4 is better than 5. Rachel is in New York with some friends. It sucks.
With the friends? Rachel is in New York with friends?
Rachel is in New York. She meets this guy named Ross.
Whoa!
And
They
they were on a break.
Sorry, I'll shut
And then, no, it's okay. Well, season 6, they kind of drop all of that, and Rachel goes back to high school after a failed Broadway production. And it's like her dreams that should have came true.
As a
that
student?
It was leading to. No, she goes back as like the Glee coach.
Oh, I see.
Because Schuster had left to do a Broadway thing or something. A lot of Broadway in the show. But
Makes sense.
instead of Rachel's dreams coming true, she starts happening, and then she goes on like a sitcom, and that goes poorly, and she needs a reset. So she goes back to high school as the Glee coach, and she's gonna teach the next generation. What should have been just a crappy spin-off show that could have happened later, end it with season 5 and that beautiful she achieves her dreams. Everyone ended where they needed to be. Instead, they just pull her back for a 6th season, introduce a new roster of characters,
Ugh.
and it's just
Horrible
not
idea.
That
very
sucks.
good at all.
That
I think at the
sucks.
end, the high school is turned into a performance art high school or something stupid. I can't remember
Just something that would never, ever happen.
exactly.
Yeah.
And so
That sucks.
to clarify, when I watched it the first time, season 6 had not been out. And then I rewatched it with season 6, and then I
Gotcha.
rewatched it again and didn't watch past season 3.
Gotcha.
Anyway, that's my answer. Glee should have ended a season early, and then it would have been hailed as one of the greats. It would be on the Mount Rushmore of TV,
TV
shows.
with Glee.
Mark my words.
Yeah, I mean, people did love that show. It was extremely popular. There's no denying that. Niall, you got a thought on a show with that answer to your own question?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
yapped about Glee
The Venom
long
show?
enough for you to
The Venom TV
come up
show.
with something.
I tried, but I got too involved in you talking about Glee.
That's true.
It was
Maybe-
interesting. I
All
liked
right.
talking about.
I'll
Okay,
sing
no,
Don't
no.
Stop Believing.
No, he's got it.
no.
We're good. We're good.
Another season finale or series finale with that song, by the way.
Oh, it was
Yeah,
also
nice.
Glee.
Yeah,
Nice.
Don't they have 16 different versions of Don't Stop Believing?
they do.
Yeah.
They
In
sing
that
once per
show? Oh my god.
Yeah.
season. Yeah.
So awesome.
I can't wait to watch it.
Okay, I'll give you this answer. I don't feel good about it because this is just a finale that I thought really, really nailed it. And I guess towards the end of the show, they started making some very bold decisions that made it much more narrative rather than episodic. And that is Adventure Time.
Oh,
Oh,
interesting.
Specifically, the last 2 seasons are barely even you kind of have to watch the last 2 seasons in order, and the character relationships start getting way more specific and way more narrative rather than episodic. That's the way to say it.
Yeah.
And it was a risk because I remember as a kid in season 4 I dropped off because it was just it stopped being kind of fun kids show. It felt like they kind of adjusted for older audiences. And so when I went back a couple of years ago and watched the whole thing, I loved those seasons, but I still recognized why as a kid I kind of stopped watching. Yeah. And then in the last couple of seasons I wasn't disliking it, but I was nervous. And I was like, okay, this is starting to build towards a narrative finale that feels really scary and risky to me with a show like this that any other show would just kind of stop making the show,
Yeah, totally.
But the finale is beautiful.
Yeah, I haven't
It
watched,
is-
so don't spoil.
It's so good. I won't say anything
don't
about it,
spoil it.
but I was watching it alone in my room, just tears streaming down my face with how perfectly they did it. And in a way that now any episode of Adventure Time that I watch just has that extra amount of heart in it because of how how much basically in that last episode, not spoiling anything, I'm just saying that because I'm saying in the last episode, so I don't want you to think I'm about to say something that happens.
Yeah.
But they kind of make you realize that, like, just how much you love all of these characters.
Yeah.
And so now,
That's
like,
cool.
in a very tangible, visceral way, they kind of, like, all of these characters are important to me. And so now when I go back and watch it, I'm watching the same show, but with that added, like, knowledge of how much I care about all of them.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a magical thing. So that's not really a show that I thought was, like, trailing off, but it was something that very easily could have because of risky decisions they were making, but it paid off.
Nice. That's cool.
I love that.
That's very cool. Yeah,
That's fancy.
I've heard that Jake eats Finn, and that it's like a really cool scene. That like shows a lot of
and
gore
like you hear
and
all the
blood
bones
and, yeah,
snapping,
yeah.
and
You can hear the
It's
crunches.
not like a
Not like a
it's
swallow.
not like
It's a chew.
cartoon. Yeah, swallow. He chews him, tears him apart. Because in the end, he is just a dog. He's a wild dog.
Yeah,
a wild
that's
animal.
how. Yeah, he's just a wild animal. So here.
Also, special shout out to Attack on Titan, which maybe was the riskiest finale ever.
Honestly,
The riskiest
facts.
finale I have
That's the
ever
best
seen in
answer
my
to
entire
this.
life.
Dude,
And
half,
totally nailed it.
God,
And
yeah.
apparently, watching the show back,
I'm sure.
your brother, Jacob, just texted me and he said, I just watched it back and it's amazing.
Nice, that's cool.
Watching it again, having the
Wow.
finale in mind.
Shout out
is
to
Jacob,
incredible.
bro. I can't wait to watch
So shout out to
Shingeki no
Jacob.
Kyojin twice before I like
Well,
it.
Yeah, dude. Lucas.
No, you will
I know. I like it the
You'll-
first
you'll
time.
love it.
I
Love
know. I know. Okay, here's my question.
Oh,
I know
we
we've
should
been
do that
yapping.
tonight.
We've been yapping for a while, but I think this question will be really fun. So, based on this brief, quick discourse we just had about Shingeki no Kyojin, what is a show that you would recommend people? Basically, we could do two sides of this. We don't have to do both since we're going long, but.
Yeah, we're over time.
There is no time. I control time, and time is fake. So this episode is now at minute 1, so we're completely restarted. But the prompt, basically, I guess more than a question, is what's a show you want to tell people to watch, and back it up with saying finale makes it all worth it, and other side of that coin, defend a show worth watching even though the finale is bad. So you can do one or both or either or.
I got both.
You
I
can
got
make it
both
as long or short.
loaded in the barrel.
And so that's go with that. Run with that. Do as much or as little with that as you want.
I got both, and I feel like they might be very similar both to what else is in this room here with me tonight. And that is Succession is a show that it can be real slow and it can be slow burn, but that finale and the whole last season, but the finale especially, so
Makes it worth it.
Any time where it's kind of slow or whatever, totally worth it. Love that show. It's amazing. Sometimes you can kind of get lost in all of like the jargon and the details of the deals that they're talking about, but that stuff's not important. The importance in that show is the character relationships and the moves that they're making. Other side of things, we've talked about it in this episode already. Bad last season, especially bad finale. Game of Thrones, watch all of
Yeah,
it still.
it's still definitely.
I-
Yeah, we definitely
I-
need to talk about it. It's worth
The
talking
way
about
that
it in a
show
episode like
works-
this.
The way that show works, you can't just watch to the end of season 7 or even season 6 and be
Yeah,
satisfied.
no. Even
Like,
with
you
it
have
ending
to
poorly,
get
you
to
gotta.
the end of
Yeah.
it. The
need
ending
a
is bad,
resolution.
and the show is still amazing.
Yes,
Yeah.
The finale, as much as it does like
suck.
really just kind of tarnish what it could have been, it doesn't tarnish the show up to that point. So it's a great show. Bad finale. I defend even season 7, though a lot of people think that one is also bad.
I like
think
season 7.
7 is sick. But yeah, that's my answer. Watch it anyway. Everyone talks about how the finale sucks, and honestly, that was kind of a hesitation for me. When I was
Same.
like, I don't want to watch a show if I just know it's gonna suck, and it doesn't.
It's amazing.
Honestly,
it's so good. It's just the finale.
a lot of season 8 is even not that bad. It's like there's some
Yeah.
cool stuff in season 8 that is still exciting to watch.
But there's also
not
some
done as well
miserable
as
things in season
those
8.
like
Outside of the finale.
there's that really really cool awesome battle that also has some of the dumbest stuff happen during
Yeah.
it. But the battle itself pretty interesting and
Yeah.
cool, except for that it's like pitch black and you can barely tell what's going on, and the episode is like 3 hours long. But it's cool, and watch Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. That was for sure my answer as well for that. I will say honorable mention a little bit, and I don't have a lot of data to back this up, but if you're with a good group of friends, any season of The Bachelor or Bachelorette,
Nice.
Dude.
even if it ends
Yeah.
horribly,
Well, they
it's
all end
well
horribly.
worth it. Even if it ends, or if it like starts
No matter
bad
who
and
they
ends
choose, they
great,
lose.
It's
Yep.
just a fun watch.
Yeah,
with-
definitely.
Yeah.
with the
Well,
gang,
and
with the
also
gang.
it's better for the producers if the end is horrible because it gets more press that
Yeah,
way. Because
that's
people
true.
People are like, they're
aren't gonna
divorced
go like,
already?
Oh, awesome, that worked. They want the wrong person to get.
Yeah, totally.
As far as great show, great ending,
Please
we've
watch.
talked about it as well. Breaking Bad. If you haven't seen
Mm.
Breaking Bad, it is such a masterclass at telling a character's story. And
Yeah.
sometimes that character makes decisions that you do not agree with, but you always support them. You always
Yep.
root for them. And the ending with this morally compromised character ends in a perfect way, where it leaves you satisfied and the journey was worth it. So strap in. It's 5 seasons. It's well worth the watch.
Definitely.
As far as a show with a bad ending that I still also think is worth the watch, we've talked about it, How I Met Your Mother. I will say, of all the shows we've talked about, I cried during 2 of them. How I Met Your Mother, at the finale, I did cry. And part of that was
because of how
just...
bad it was.
No, I I cried because... And I couldn't tell if I liked the ending or not, but I was so sad to let the show go.
I see. Yeah, that's fair.
I'd watched so much of it. I loved it so much. I might have watched it like twice through by the time the finale had come out. And yeah, it was hard to release. The other one I watched, I cried both times I watched the episode of Glee where Finn dies. It truly is heartbreaking, and they do
Yeah, that
such a good
sucks.
job at that. But How I Met Your Mother, honestly, I say watch it and just watch the alternate ending.
Yeah, there you go. Just make it your headcanon.
I think
How
it's
it should have
it's
ended.
well
You
worth
can
it.
decide how a show ends in your mind, and no one can take that
Yeah.
away from you.
That is true. So that's my answer. But I think the writing in How I Met Your Mother is really, really great. And yeah, it's sitcom-y. It's laugh tracky.
Oh,
But-
dude, I forgot there's a laugh track in that show.
It works. It works
Yeah, it
really
does.
well. Barney is hilarious.
Barney is my
Marshall
favorite
is hilarious. There's other characters in it too, but if you just stick with those guys,
Yeah.
it's well worth the watch.
Yeah.
So that's my answer.
Cool. Nice. Yeah, Niall, please just let me talk about Lost just for a little bit. Can I please? Please?
Because it's your answer, there's no real way for me to cut
Okay,
you off.
perfect.
I'll allow it.
But I'm gonna tell you right now, we all know what category it falls into.
Yeah. Great show, great
Yeah,
finale. Okay, no, here's the thing. All right. With the show
Let's hear
like
it.
Lost, there's always going to be people who aren't going to like it.
A bad ending.
A bad ending. Here's the thing. Whatever you've
Because
heard,
they had no idea where they were
yes, 100% true. The last season,
going. From season 1, they didn't.
the last season is very hit or miss with some of the episodes. Some of the decisions are very silly, but the show is incredible. It is so good. I love Lost. Okay? absolutely worth the watch.
Okay.
It's just so captivating. That show changed television. There have been a few pivotal shows that changed modern television. One of them being The Sopranos, one of them being Breaking Bad. Another is Lost. And I think Lost
Seinfeld.
people forget about because it was on ABC. That was network freaking television that typically is not that good or interesting. HBO and AMC are both like cable channels that you have to pay extra for to get no ads. ABC, freaking random crap like sitcoms from ABC network television. People watch that Lost finale, the Lost pilot, which is incredible. The Lost pilot is amazing. And are like, wow, this is a new show. Like there's action, there's horror, there's like, it's well written, it's well shot. The characters are really interesting. It's shot on location. Like there's huge set pieces. We would not have like huge TV like we do without stuff like Lost paving the way. So
Anyone
definitely
that's,
worth watching.
that's watching and not listening, Lucas is purple and has veins poking out of his head.
And I'm
He's
so
gesturing like
He's
crazy.
been
So,
holding
yeah.
this in the entire episode.
I'm finally able
and
to.
I knew he was going to bring it up this episode, so that's why I kept prodding him on Lost the whole time. And it paid off because he is enraged. Smoke's coming out of his ears.
Yeah, I'm riled up. So great show,
No, but
controversial final season, but it's incredible.
everything that you said, I agree with.
Thank you. Everything I said is a fact.
You're welcome.
Is it still worth watching though?
It absolutely is still worth watching. Absolutely, because I do like the finale. I like the whole last season. There are certain decisions in it, as there are for most shows, that I'm like, I don't love that, but overall I still enjoy it. There are a whole lot of different ways they could have gone, but it stays consistently good up until the last season, where it's more hit or miss. But the whole 6 seasons prior to that are just awesome, and season 7 too, which is also still great in my opinion.
Do you want a confession?
Yes,
When I was a kid, I thought that Lost and Survivor were the same.
that's actually pretty funny.
That's so fair for a child. To think.
Yeah.
Yep, totally.
My mother
Anyway,
went
what's
into
your
labor
perfect-
with my younger sister while watching Lost. We were like 3
Oh,
episodes
wow.
away from finishing it, and we were probably going to finish it that night. And she was like, "Oh no, I'm about to give birth," and I was like, "No, we need to finish Lost, Mom."
Can I watch it without?
Yeah. So
What's
care
your
of
show
that.
that's good all
good all the way
through?
through, baby. Sopranos, other one I mentioned briefly. Although I will say, upon release, the finale was incredibly controversial. It's shocking,
Yeah, people
certainly.
were upset
People
about
were
it.
upset about it, but I think that's the best way you can end a show like that. I love the finale of Sopranos. I love the entire show. It is definitely top 5 for me. Amazing. I could go on and on about that show, but it is absolutely worth the watch. It took me a while to finish it just because it's such a huge undertaking. Like, you really have to commit time to it because there's so many episodes and all the episodes are an hour long. But really great, really worth watching. Ends great, but was divisive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think one final one I'm going to shout out is the Seinfeld finale too.
I was just about to
which
say.
I love. I love the Seinfeld
listeners,
finale, but people hated it when it came out.
Listeners might be screaming at us right
For not
now
bringing up
saying,
Seinfeld.
why didn't you bring up Seinfeld for a show that was great all the way through but had a bad finale? And it's because it didn't have a bad finale.
Yeah, it had a good finale.
Dumb idiots out there.
The Curb Your Enthusiasm finale plays very coy with
Finality!
the Seinfeld finale.
Mortal Kombat
which I thought was
finality.
fun. Curb, I thought, ended
Yeah,
great.
Larry David goes up to a guy and grabs his head and rips his spinal cord out.
Yeah, and it's like, what?
Finality.
Finality.
So yeah, both other Seinfeld and Curb are also great shows with, I think, great finales. But otherwise, this was fun talking about shows, talking about TV
This
shows.
was fun. It's
Yeah,
good
it
to be
was
back.
good.
It is good to be back.
Good to be
Sorry
back,
for the
baby.
And just wait
hiatus.
for the best finale of all.
Oh,
Our finale.
yep. The show's over. This is the
Last episode. That's the surprise.
That's a surprise.
We
It
did,
would
we
be
did
a
this
poetic
episode on
ending.
We
finales
promised there would be
because
a
we're not making
surprise
this
at the end.
anymore. Yeah, and the surprise is that the show is over.
The show's
And,
over
it's
forever,
your fault.
but you can still subscribe to our Patreon.
You can, we'll
That's
keep
true.
the
Give us
Patreon
money in
open.
perpetuity.
Yeah, yeah.
Let me get the Patreon pulled up.
I wonder how many shows are like businesses, channels, whatever, end and just keep their Patreon up,
Dude, probably so many.
Ooh.
right? Like
Why
how
not?
how often you check in your Patreon subscriptions? We
Yeah.
wouldn't do that to you. In fact, we're going to give you a
Never.
bonus episode right after this if you go to our Patreon at /ManCaveMovieNight or whatever
.com.
it is.
Yeah, patreon.com/mancavemovie-night.
Yeah, you will get a bonus episode.
That's
In
true. It's
addition
called
to that,
In addition to that, you will also get to shout out my mom, Kel. This week, there's a special shout out to Kel from Rowan Oberg, Nick Bell, Michael Polonsik, Easy Law, Britton Inkley, Riley Allen, Ian James Martin, and Hannah Steed. All of those people say shout out to my mom, which is
shout out to Kel.
invaluable to her progression through everything that's been going on. We really appreciate it. And
Yeah, we do. Thanks.
Yeah, so if
She
you
quite
wanna give
literally
that
would
shout
not
out,
be
go to-
here without you.
No, absolutely. Without all
Yeah.
of you people. That wasn't Lucas talking to me. That was Lucas
Talking to
talking to you. If you want to get in on that, patreon.com/mancavemovie-night. You shout out me mammy.
We're like
You get a
basically
bonus
putting
episode.
out double the content. It's got to be like a lot of money, right? Like per
It's
month.
gotta
It's
be
got to be
so
like
much.
super
Yeah.
expensive.
$100
It
a
is.
month.
It's $3 a month. Faked ya. That's not a lot. Have
It is
one
$3
less
though.
have less. Well, that is $3, but have one less McDouble a week and you're good.
True.
Doubt it.
That's not
This
even a
is helping with
McDouble
your weight
for
loss.
us
I
to share.
refuse to make
This
that
is
sacrifice.
helping with your weight loss.
I refuse to make that
if
sacrifice.
if you subscribe to our Patreon, you will lose weight, and I promise that. Or
Asterisks
if your weight
with
goals are
text
to
at the
gain
bottom.
weight, then you'll gain weight also.
Yeah.
We will
You'll
help
buy-
you achieve your weight goals.
You'll buy 3 less bundles of bananas if you subscribe.
Are bananas that cheap?
You'll
Dude, bananas for a bundle is like $1.
Dang.
Bananas are way cheap. If you're not buying bananas,
which is
you're
upsetting because
losing
for the game
money.
Super Monkey Ball, that's like $50.
It's true.
Yeah, that is
It's really
true.
true.
And then, well, I guess not upsetting. There's tons of bundles of bananas in that game.
Is it pay to win?
Well,
Is Monkey Ball pay to win?
Well, it's pay to. You can't win it unless you pay for it.
yeah, you've got to buy it.
I'm not
or
interested
rent
then.
it
It's
from
buy to
GameFly like I
win.
did.
Oh, nice.
Anyway,
This week, this week's episode is brought to you by GameFly, a company that I don't think exists anymore.
Game
I
Pass
don't
probably
think
ate
so.
that. Mark it up.
Yeah, totally. Well, to hear us yap more about Monkey Ball, head
we'll
over to our
talk to you later.
Patreon. Until then, go ahead and give us a like or a 5-star
And a
rating.
Subscribe, follow.
Share us. The best way to support us is by sharing us with a friend. If you liked it, please do that. That'd be awesome.
And the best way to support me is by calling me on the phone and asking me how things have been going and if I need anything.
Don't do that.
But
I would appreciate
not.
it.
there's not a lot of time in the day. So until next time, Lucas.
Yeah, let's. We'll see you on another Man Cave Movie Night Monday. Do not call Niall. Just listen to our podcast and let that be the talking of listening to talking of Niall. And yeah, thanks for listening. We love you guys. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Bazinga.
Bazinga.
Oh, that was close.